to stand up and say, like, you know, income disparity in today's economy is ridiculous. Around the world, I mean, it's better and worse in different places, but it's generally bad everywhere. And we can't forget these things. You know, we got to keep, no matter how much time it takes, we've got to keep these issues going. You can't let go of this stuff. We can't give in to the austerity and the budget cuts and the crashing and demolishing of unions and the control and funding of arts to make sure that no one offers a different perspective about a war and makes people question what's happening in their world. You know, that is so important. And you know, so much stuff is happening right now. I mean, we talk about the crap in Canada with the Conservative Reform Alliance Party. They're angering everybody. Scientists went on, marched through fucking Ottawa the other day.
Death of evidence rally. You know, the scientists are being defunded. They're being muzzled. You know, it's
they got support from the international scientific community, because these people they dedicate their lives to what they learn, and science isn't a fucking joke, right? It's science. I mean, this is what builds the modern world, essentially, is our scientific outlook. And their funding is being, again, politicized, just like the artist. Isn't that ironic? The fucking intellectuals that are like hands-on involved in what's going on in our world as far as biology or fucking marine science, all these different things are their funding is being politicized, if it disagrees with a corporate or government view, then there's some sort of eco-terrorist or they're un-Canadian, or I mean, it's astounding. It is really astounding.
Yep. And what we see is I don't know, people. Well, it's summertime. People aren't paying attention. Parliament is not sitting. I don't know. I guess every important politician was just out of the Calgary Stampede making pancakes for people, wearing their cowboy hats and their boots. You know what I mean? Probably at the lowest brow. That's Canada's NASCAR right there. It's worse than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, what do they do out there again? Chuck wagon races and last.
They do the chuck wagon races and they ride bulls and stuff. They wear cowboy hats and checkered shirts, dude.
Oh my god.
Cowboy. I bet you it'd be kind of fun. But I mean, that's just.
Well, what part of that is fun? I mean, riding the bull would be kind of cool if it was a fair contest. You know what I mean?
No. What you got to do is you got to get a belt and you got to like squeeze it around the bull's balls and like make it so that you can pull on that while you're riding, so you piss them off a lot.
Yeah, is that what they do?
I'm pretty sure that's what they do.
They manipulate the bull's balls while they ride them?
I think so, just so you get a little bit more bucking action.
Oh my god. Anyway, I don't know. I saw a video the other day of a bull jumping right out of a bullfighting ring into the stands and goring a crap load of people, and I was like, right on, man. I think
serves you right.
Yeah,
go to a bullfight.
I just don't like the cruelty to the animals. If I'm gonna watch cruelty to animals, I mean, I don't really care if it's the human animal or the bovine animal that gets it. You know what I mean? That's why I don't mind watching the running of the bulls in Pamplona there, because that's a fair contest. That's where they're like, okay, that bull has a legit chance to kill some people. You know what I mean? And they're just trying to stay ahead of it. So I don't know. Yeah, we digress, though, eh?
That's his bread and butter right there, though. I mean, Alberta is staunchly conservative.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Well, Stephen Harper went to Calgary, the Calgary Stampede, and in his speech, he announced that Calgary is the best city in Canada. Did you hear about that? Caused a little bit of a kerfuffle there. You know, because I mean, if you're the mayor of the city, yeah, it's your job to say it's the best place on earth. But if you're the Prime Minister of Canada, you're the Prime Minister of every city in Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should probably try to be a little bit more
diplomatic, yeah, and considerate.
Yeah, so, diplomatic.
Saying your hometown's the best in the country.
Well, Stephen Harper has proved that the seat of political power in Canada has shifted away from Quebec and Ontario to Alberta, and what he fails to recognize is that it's not because he pulled it there, it's because the shift is moving west, and soon the shift will move to BC. And when that happens, things may not be as good for Stephen Harper. So, I mean, I know that's a big battleground for the Conservatives too, and that they have maybe more of a footprint there than they do in Quebec. And obviously they have a huge one in Ontario, which is the irony. As much as they try to diss Ontario, they're fighting for seats in Ontario all the time. But
I know. Well, at least the only good thing that came out of the Calgary Stampede for me was Harper's gaffe, where he let all of Canada know that he thinks Calgary is the best city in the Dominion. And also, it was good to see Justin Trudeau wearing the old cowboy hat and flipping pancakes.
He made a showing there, eh?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, if you're a reasonably civilized human being and you had your summer holidays going on, and you weren't running for Prime Minister, would you don a dumbass looking hat and flip pancakes for Calgarians?
I think you kind of have to if you maybe have some sort of idea that you might want to be Liberal leader.
Right, exactly. That's my whole point. Justin Trudeau was out there wearing the dumb hat and flipping pancakes for the dumb people, and that has to mean he's running for Prime Minister, or, well, obviously, leader of the Liberal Party, because that's the last thing.
Were there any other Liberals out there?
Bob Rae was backing him up.
Nice.
Bob Rae was backing him up, and
did they spit on Bob Rae a whole bunch, or do they not know who he is?
Idea. They probably didn't recognize him.
They're like, "Who's the old guy with Justin?"
Yeah, so it's pretty funny. I don't know what other leadership hopefuls were there. I don't know if the Martha Hall Finley or the other announced candidate Deborah Coyne were there.
We have to keep track of that, though, Tony, and we have to see and watch. Now that Bob Rae has decided that he's not going to seek the Liberal leadership, is he going to be a political father figure to Justin Trudeau? And if he's determined to see Justin Trudeau become the next Liberal leader, then that alone will probably mean that Justin Trudeau is the next Liberal leader, because Bob Rae's political will is not gonna it's not gonna be missed within the Liberal Party, even though he's decided that he is not gonna run for the leadership.
Yeah,
they are still gonna listen to that guy, and if he's picked Justin as his as somebody who he sees as the choice, then you're probably right, where Justin Trudeau will.
It's going to be a cakewalk regardless, but I mean, having Bob Rae there as a mentor figure and playing that role in the public eye is going to do a lot to deflect criticism that Justin's not ready, that Justin's not old enough, because he's going to have a right-hand man that has all the experience in the world, Yeah,
and the question becomes how much Bob Rae decides to if he throws his weight behind Justin Trudeau, or if he decides to walk that thin line where it's like, oh, I'm not endorsing anybody, but everything he does subtly implies that he's for Justin Trudeau. That'll be the question as to what happens with Bob Rae's influence on the leadership race, because he's definitely still going to have an influence, whether it's acknowledged or not by Bob Rae.
Mm-hmm.
So see what happens there.
Yeah, that'll be certainly very interesting. And I will say that a recent poll that was released indicated that 33% of people surveyed would vote for a Justin Trudeau-led Liberal Party. That's a big number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. I don't know. They didn't say where that support would come from. You know, it would be my wish that it would all come up. All of it would come off of the conservative hide. You know. But that's
you got to expect that, man. I mean, that is what we're looking at in this next election cycle. We literally have to hope that all of those Liberal votes that left the Liberal Party and went to the Conservatives, especially in Ontario and BC, that they reconsider and that they look at their options again. And if they're in a riding where, you know, if they're unhappy with what the Conservatives have done, which I don't understand why anyone would be unhappy, but anyways, you know, they have another option. You know, they could maybe vote for the Liberal Party and their local constituent and Justin Trudeau, or if that's not an option, maybe they even go as far as voting for the NDP. But whatever they do, those voters that swung to the Conservatives in this last election, they're the people that are so important right now, as far as, you know, when we're out there talking to people. You know, you don't even have to ask a person how they voted. You can kind of tell by how they talk about what's happening in the government. And when you know you're talking to somebody who swung from being a Liberal to going Conservative in a riding that went Conservative and was Liberal, remember that's a person who can be turned around again. You know?
Exactly.
We gotta.
I mean, I think we've mentioned it before, Mike. I truly appreciate people that always will, like, that don't commit to a party forever and ever. I mean,
it's not, you know, they have to be respected.
Yeah, I mean,
they made a choice, and
yeah, and if you can still make a future choice, that's when I get, you know, I'm not even sure if I respect someone who is like hardcore dedicated to the end of life to the Liberal Party any more than I respect the same kind of person with the Conservative Party. What does that mean? You've chosen a party and now you close your mind off to new information, you know? Because I'll tell you what, that solid base that Stephen Harper and the Conservatives seem to have, I wish they'd wake up and realize that that's not the party that they imagined it was when they first committed to it. You know what I mean? Things change, parties change, because the people in them change. The
It'd
forces
be really
that
curious to
them
find
change.
out exactly what's going on in the minds of different people who still think of themselves as progressive conservatives that are in that Conservative Party.
Yeah,
it doesn't appear that there are huge fissures within, you know, this new party called the Conservatives that were really, you know, they put on a conservative suit, but they're really the Reform Party.
I hope they're trying to take it back, or they're trying to figure out if they can get some influence in a different party for their ideas. You know what I mean? Because
my local candidate here, who's a Conservative, talks about the Conservatives in a third voice. Like the Conservatives don't like that.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah,
do you want to go to a musical break and then come back and pick this up?
I think so. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they'll give us time for a run to the fridge.